Good morning. This is meteorologist Drew Lerner of World Weather Incorporated. This is your livestock weather update here for Tuesday, May the 5th. You're looking at a surface weather loop for the central and southern plains, and just wanted to point out the storm of the day today will be this disturbance coming southward out of Wyoming into Colorado and some of the neighboring areas of Kansas and eventually into parts of the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles. But the system is expected to fall apart once it reaches into the Texas panhandle. And so this is going to be primarily a localized event that will impact Colorado, western Kansas primarily. And you can see that it starts off as a rain event and then changes over, becomes mixed with, and over to snow. And we'll likely see the system have a big impact on travel across east central Colorado as we get out into the night tonight and into the morning tomorrow. The storm system is going to start off as mostly a rain event. And let me stop the loop a little bit and we can kind of look at this just a little bit closer. And we'll go back here to the beginning. The precipitation that starts off here today during the course of the morning is not expected to be all that great. It will occur mostly as rain, but you can see some snow up there in southeastern Wyoming and in the north central mountains of Colorado. As we go forward, though, through the late afternoon and into the evening coming up today, you'll see the precipitation expanding into Kansas and down into the Texas panhandle. And then you can see that there's a little bit of snow that becomes mixed in during the evening. And overnight tonight, the snow becomes a little bit more meaningful. By the time we get to dawn tomorrow, we will likely have had quite a bit of snow accumulated in east central and some northeastern parts of Colorado across some of the livestock areas. And we do expect the precipitation to switch back over to rain as we get into Wednesday afternoon. However, there is going to be quite a pool of cool air over the region, so it's going to be kind of a sloppy mess during the course of the day tomorrow. The moisture totals are going to be fairly significant, but it's really about the snow. And differing models out there have differing ideas to how much will accumulate. I'm looking for 2 to about 6 inches to occur in east central Colorado primarily. We'll look for dustings upwards to 2 or 3 inches in the rest of Colorado. You might get a little bit of snow along the Colorado-Kansas border, but I don't think it'll go much farther to the east. It'll be too warm. Soil temperatures are also warm enough that this snow isn't going to stick around for very long. It's really only during the height of the precipitation intensity that we'll see the accumulation take place. Very quick melting will occur after the precipitation winds down. But you can see this particular model run does suggest that the greatest snows will most likely be in the mountains, but in east central Colorado along that Highway I-70 corridor will likely see the majority of the greatest snowfall. We do look for the moisture totals with this particular event to be fairly decent. In fact, it may be one of the best precipitation events that Colorado and western Kansas have seen in quite a little while. Some of this moisture is a little exaggerated. We're looking for totals running from 2/10 to 7/10 of an inch in reality, and there'll probably be a few locations that will get upwards to an inch of moisture. A couple of counties or parts of counties could come up with a little bit more than that with it, but as dry as it is out across this region, the precipitation will disappear fairly quickly. So short-term muddy conditions will occur in some feedlots, but we're not expecting it to last very long at all. And then those temperatures are going to be fairly cold. And this is why we're going to see the snow out there. These are temperatures for this afternoon. You can see we'll be in the 40s, and there's going to be some chilly air across portions of Wyoming. As we move on into the day on Wednesday, you can see that the temperatures will be quite chilly. With those areas that get the significant snow overnight, will be stuck in the 30s, mostly middle and upper 30s. Surrounding that will be some 40-degree temperatures. In the meantime, down in the southern plains, of course, at the heart of Texas, we'll be seeing temperatures in the 80s, even close to 90 degrees. Plenty of heat down that way. And then as we get out into the second half of this week, Thursday and Friday, we'll see a warming trend take place. Temperatures in the central plains will be back into the 60s and 70s. We do cool off Texas for a little while, but that won't last long. It does heat back up again. On Friday, temperatures getting high into the 80s again, probably a couple of temperatures over 90 degrees, especially around the Childress, Texas area. Colorado snow will be gone by this point for sure. In fact, it probably won't last more than 12 or 24 hours. We do look for for the heat to continue to build up. And as we get into the weekend, there'll be quite a bit of it. So the animal stresses will be on the high side once again, as we see these temperatures bounce around quite a bit. But there is a weak cool front that comes along later in the weekend that will try to push some of that heat back to the south, but it's not very successful. If we take a look at the morning temperatures, you can see here that the lows here this morning were mostly in the 30s, but it's tomorrow morning it's going to be coolest. In fact, on Thursday, even colder still. We're going to see some upper 20 and 30-degree temperatures over these 2 nights. Wednesday and Thursday mornings will be coldest. I'm a little concerned about Thursday morning, not only because of the livestock chill that will take place, but more so for row crops out across western Kansas and eastern Colorado, even southwestern Nebraska. Some of these crops are in the heading stage, even beginning to flower in a few cases, and these temperatures may be too cold for that. We may end up seeing some sterilization in the crop, and yields may come down a little bit lower. There's only going to be a few areas that will be subjected to that kind of condition, but it's still one more issue for the west central parts of the U.S. plains. As we get into Friday and Saturday, the temperatures will begin rebounding. Nighttime lows will come out of the 30s and 40s, and we'll likely see that being the rule as we go on into the first part of next week. In the longer range, wanted to look at the upper air wind flow pattern here. You can see that we do have a couple of troughs of low pressure, one coming down from Canada, another one in from California. These two are going to align themselves a little bit better, so colder air will pool up across the plains and into the Midwest. This is going to be on Wednesday going into Thursday, so this is how the snow event comes around for Colorado and neighboring areas of Kansas. But as we move on into Thursday and Friday, the cold very quickly relocates over the Midwest. There is a reinforcing shot of cold air that comes down into the northern plains as we get into the weekend. So there will be a lot of coolish conditions across the central parts of the country, but nothing too extreme. Livestock will be able to handle this fairly well as we move forward through time. Notice the ridge of high pressure building up over the western part of North America. This is by the time we get out to the early part of next week. The ridge in the west, trough in the east should generate a relatively quiet weather pattern across the central part of the country, and temperatures will be seasonable, but probably ebbing a little warmer, especially as we get out towards the middle of the month and beyond. The specifics, the temperatures are going to start off cooler biased in the plains and Midwest, but as we go on into the weekend and into next week, you'll see the temperatures start to warm up, and the western United States will be seeing the warmest conditions, but parts of the plains will start to heat up as we get into the weekend and next week, and those warmer than normal conditions will stay with us through at least through the middle of the month. Nothing too extreme outside of what we've already looked at here. And looking at the precipitation for the 10 days coming up, you can see that we have this precipitation event that's impacting Colorado and Kansas here today, as we've already talked about, into tomorrow. But there's going to be some rain and thunderstorms that occur across the lower eastern Midwest, the Delta and Tennessee River Basin areas. Some strong to severe thunderstorms will be possible in the Tennessee Basin as we get out to Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. But after that, most of the active weather kind of disappears. We have a few areas of showers and thunderstorms, but there's not going to be any large-scale issue with livestock conditions across the plains. And so the bottom line is it's fairly normalish weather as we go on through the middle of the month. This is meteorologist Drew Lerner.